Okay, so in some ways this is one of my hardest videos, and you would probably think, well, why? And that is because it encompasses so much of a very huge story that I uncovered while speaking to a friend yesterday. His name is Michael, and I'm going to put his one of his videos down below. I find his information very insightful and very awake. And we played the role yesterday of he played the masculine part of the role, and I played the female part of the role. Now, why do I explain that? Because inside yourself, you are both masculine and you're also feminine. We throw the mirror up. Michael was the mirror yesterday. Forgive me. Yes, we, masculine and feminine inside myself, throw the mirror up against the wall, and I project out an idea outside myself, which is Michael, to have a conversation, right? To have a conversation about this conundrum, this story. And how do we know this story exists deep in the cellular mass of ourselves? Well, the first thing I think of, right, is I think of if I go into the collective consciousness that I see from my reality system that I grew up in, right? Sorry, there's a lot of energy behind all of this, and it's still integrating. And so I go out and I can go to the far reaches of collective, and I can see the pain that male and female has caused one another. I can go out to the far reaches of this story, or I can bring it back to me and how I'm living that story. I wanted yesterday to go inside self, project out a mirror that I threw all the way into centuries of time of the male and female consciousness. I wanted to look at, examine, travel through, and understand the male-female aspect that lives within. I wanted to understand it from all aspects, so I could see the part in which I'm playing with my energy in both an individual reflection and a collective reflection, a family history of that goes through my mother's lineage and my father's lineage. Now, you can start at this point to understand, the deepness of this awareness. And as I traveled this with my willing friend, Michael, thank you again, it was deep. And I thought it'd be fun, not like fun, hey, like my friend Jen today was having a good time. And I swear, she is such a reflection of my little girl that when I see her, and my little girl gets so, and my little boy gets so hyped up inside myself. I just get so excited, and I just sit and I giggle with her joy. And she was doing a jiggle dance, but anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's go back. So I go all the way into this reality system, right, that we can see in our collective. It may not be in our current setting, but it was worth, in my opinion, examining because it was in loop mode. And I could see that the loop mode was had started from, like, let's say a grain of salt, right? But the salt had taken over the collective, and the collective was still holding my masculine and my feminine grain of salt. Now, when we examine what a grain of salt looks like, it doesn't look very big, right? So it's like, a little grain of salt. I just want a little grain of salt. But depending on how you understand how magnanimous your soul is, and that you're manifesting everything in your reality system, it's worth examining the grain of salt. From my perspective, I share this information truly from my perspective. I like to do that because I'm on the ride with you. So it only makes sense. If I was doing it from, like, I'm going to teach you something, I'm only teaching myself anyways, which is even funnier. I'm going to teach you something, Susan. I just want to share and reflect back the knowledge and the journey in which I am on. And that feels really good because I like this ride I'm on. I like being on the ride with Susan. I like her a lot. I like her so much that I am definitely in love with her at this point. I hope you saw my morning video to myself. I am loving her. Right? She has everything that I need. She's connected to heart. She desires her truth. She shows compassion and love. Well, she showed a lot of it to others, and now she shows it directly to self. She knows how to do that. She's a learner. She's a grower. She's transparent. She's amazing. But she had this grain of salt out there in the world. And she knew that she had a grain of salt out there in the world because she could see the world as such. And Lisa Transcendent Brown, and I just am like, it's like a sister of light that you know is your reflection, because every part of the ride she's talking about is the part of the ride that you can see yourself on. So you're just grateful for the awareness that she reverberates in the mirror back to herself. Now we're in the sweet spot because everything's blurry, right? Okay, so let's keep going. And I think I have time frames, so I'm going to do a few parts to this. So I went looking for this grain of salt that in a collective fashion was utilizing my energy, my buy-in to a story from my female perspective and my male perspective that I wanted to look at, wanted to recognize within myself, and I wanted to heal. But the story has been going on for so long, and it's so far into the collective in so many different angles. How do I feel that I have the right to change this collective consciousness with my one grain of salt? This is the beginning of this story. And I'm going to share it with you in parts because I believe that it may be the reflection to many parts of my reflection. And to share this examination is like telling a story of the origination of male and female. And I find it interesting, and I find it beautiful, and I find it inspiring. And I hope you will as well. I'm like a cliffhanger right now. I'm going to stop because I'm at 10 minutes. I'm going to gather my thoughts, and I'm going to figure out how to begin this particular story. I'm excited, and I want you to know I can't wait to share it with you. So let's go to part 2.